At 35 miles per hour, the USS Carl Vinson was racing through 50-knot winds off Alaska in January 1987. The flight deck was covered in ice, waves were towering over the ship, and an F-14 Tomcat was dangerously close to the edge. The crew had a choice: slow down and risk mission failure, or maintain speed and face the deadly consequences. They chose speed, and what happened next shows exactly how aircraft carrier crews face nature's most terrifying challenge. But this wasn't the worst they have encountered. In December 1944, 3 destroyers were completely destroyed when Admiral Halsey's fleet maintained high speed through a massive typhoon. The USS Hull. Just 2 years ago, on November 29, 2022, a single rogue wave killed a passenger and injured 4 others on the Viking Polaris. That ship was only doing 15 miles per hour. Now imagine what happens when a 100,000-ton aircraft carrier hits a wave like that at over 30 miles per hour with 5,000 crew members aboard. Today, you're going to discover exactly how these brave crews face this life-or-death challenge every single day. The techniques they use, the split-second decisions they make, and the incredible teamwork that keeps these floating cities alive when nature unleashes. Understand about aircraft carrier operations. These ships can't just slow down when big waves appear. When you're defending America's interests or responding to a crisis, mission speed is everything. The USS Nimitz proved this during Operation Desert Storm, maintaining over 30 knots while launching combat missions despite facing 25-foot seas in the Persian Gulf. Captain Mike Aber's lives depend on it. At maximum speed, these nuclear-powered giants move at over 35 miles per hour. That might not sound fast until you realize that hitting a 60-foot wave at that speed generates the same impact force as a high-speed car crash, except the car weighs 100,000 tons and carries enough firepower to level a city. The crew's first challenge happens on the bridge, where the officer of the deck must make constant speed and heading adjustments. Chief Petty Officer Martinez, who served 20 years on carriers, describes it. You're reading the wave patterns ahead, calculating impact timing, and adjusting speed in real time. 215 explains the process. We were doing 28 knots when we encountered 45-foot waves. Every wave impact felt like hitting a concrete wall. The key is reading the wave sets, you speed up for the smaller ones, and reduce power just before the big ones hit. This technique, called wave riding, requires incredible skill. The bridge team uses visual cues, cut through waves, not ride over them. At high speed, the knife-like bow slices into wave faces, sending tons of green water cascading over the flight deck. The crew must secure everything in seconds because even a loose tool becomes a deadly projectile. Senior Chief Aviation Boatswain's Mate Rodriguez has guided over 2,000 aircraft landings in rough seas. He describes the challenge: when we're at speed in heavy weather, the deck motion is violent and unpredictable. 1 second you're 20 feet below normal, the next you're 30 feet above. Pilots have less than 3 seconds to adjust. The landing signal officers, or LSOs, are the real heroes here. These highly trained specialists stand on a platform just feet from where 40,000-pound fighter jets slam onto the deck at 150 miles per hour. In rough seas at high speed, they're risking their lives every single time an aircraft approaches. Petty Officer First Class Thompson, an LSO on the USS Ronald Reagan, explains their technique. We use something called deck motion compensation. We're constantly calculating where the deck will be when the aircraft touches down, not where it is now. At high speed, everything happens faster, so our margin for error drops to almost zero. The most terrifying moment comes when the deck is rising fast just as an aircraft touches down. The combined speed of the ship moving through waves and the aircraft's descent can create impact forces that would destroy smaller vessels. Only the incredible skill of these deck crews and the 0 to 160 miles per hour in 2 seconds. When the ship is moving at high speed through rough seas, maintaining proper steam pressure while compensating for deck motion requires split-second timing and nerves of steel. The navigation. These sailors use weather data, wave models, and real-time observations to plot courses that keep the ship moving fast while avoiding the worst wave action. Quartermaster First Class Jackson, who navigated carriers through 3 major storms, explains their method. We're constantly updating our route based on wave height forecasts, wind direction, and mission requirements. Sometimes, the safest course adds 200 miles to the journey, but at 30 knots, that's only 7 extra hours versus losing the ship. The navigation team works with meteorologists who provide updates every 30 minutes during heavy weather operations. They're looking for wave windows, brief periods when wave height drops just enough to allow high-speed transit through dangerous areas. But here's the catch. Weather predictions become less accurate the further ahead you look. At high speed, the ship covers so much distance that weather conditions can change completely in just a few hours. The navigation team must constantly recalculate their route, sometimes making major when high-speed wave impacts damage catapults or arresting gear. Repair teams must work in the open while aircraft operations continue around them. They're exposed to spray from 60-foot waves while handling equipment that could crush them in seconds. Medic speed through conditions that would force civilian ships to seek shelter. During the 1991 Gulf War, the USS Midway maintained 30 knots through 25-foot seas while conducting round-the-clock combat operations. Captain James Johnson, who commanded the Midway during that deployment, explains the pressure. "We had pilots in the air who needed to land, combat missions to launch, and a schedule to maintain. The weather didn't care about our mission, but our crew knew how to make it work." The flight deck crew launched and recovered over 120 aircraft in conditions that normally would shut down all flight operations. They did it by perfectly timing each operation with the ship's motion through the waves, using techniques that take years to master. Aircraft approached for landing, while the carrier raced through towering waves at full speed. Pilots had to time their touchdown for the exact moment when the deck motion would be in their favor. Miss that timing by even half a second, and the result could be catastrophic. Technology that saves lives, high-speed, heavy weather operations. The improved Fresnel lens optical landing system automatically compensates for deck motion, giving pilots a stable visual reference even when the ship is being pounded by massive waves. Advanced weather routing systems help navigation teams find the safest high-speed paths through dangerous weather. These computers can process thousands of weather data points and predict wave conditions hours in advance, allowing crews to maintain mission speed while avoiding the worst conditions. The newest innovation is wave prediction technology developed at MIT. This system can predict dangerous rogue waves 2 to 3 minutes, lessons from close calls that nearly resulted in disaster. In 1985, the USS America was conducting high-speed flight operations in rough seas off Norway when a massive wave nearly swept several aircraft over the side. The incident led to new procedures for securing aircraft during high-speed, heavy weather operations. Today, every aircraft on deck is secured with multiple tie-downs, rated to withstand forces far beyond what normal operations would require. Another close call occurred in 2003 when the USS Carl Vinson encountered a rogue wave while traveling at 32 knots in the Pacific. The wave was estimated at 75 feet tall and struck the ship's port bow, flooding several compartments and causing significant damage. The crew's quick response and damage control skills prevented what could have been a catastrophic loss. The human cost of high-speed aircraft carrier crews. The constant motion causes fatigue that affects decision-making and reaction times. Sleep becomes nearly impossible when the ship is being pounded by massive waves every few seconds. Medical studies show that crew performance degrades significantly after just 12 hours of high-speed, heavy weather operations. Yet these sailors often endure days of these conditions while maintaining full operational capability. The mental stress is equally challenging. Knowing that one mistake could result in the loss of aircraft, crew members, or even the entire ship creates pressure that few people can imagine. These sailors carry that responsibility every single day in conditions that would terrify most people. Fusions even safer. Advanced hull designs will allow future carriers to maintain higher speeds through rough seas with less stress on the ship and crew. New stabilization systems will reduce ship motion by up to 50%, making flight operations safer and reducing crew fatigue during extended high-speed transits. Artificial intelligence systems will help predict optimal speed and heading combinations for any given wave condition. Perhaps most importantly, New training systems will allow crews to practice these dangerous operations in complete safety. Virtual reality simulators will reproduce the exact conditions of specific historical heavy weather encounters, letting current crews learn from past experiences without risking lives. The unsung heroes, what you've learned about these incredible crews. They don't just face giant waves, they face them at full speed while conducting the most dangerous aviation operations in the world. They maintain mission capability in conditions that would force other ships to seek shelter. From the bridge team making split-second navigation decisions to the nuclear operators maintaining full power in the engine room, every crew member plays a vital role in these death-defying operations. Their skill, courage, and teamwork allow America to project power anywhere in the world, regardless of weather conditions. These sailors prove every day that American ingenuity, training, and determination can overcome any challenge. When our nation needs rapid response to a crisis, these crews are ready to race through the worst weather nature can produce to get there in time. The fact that no American aircraft carrier has ever been lost to heavy weather is a testament to the incredible men and women who serve aboard these ships. They've mastered the impossible art of high-speed, heavy weather operations, and they do it with a level of professionalism that makes every American proud. Their service protects our freedom and demonstrates America's commitment to defending liberty around the world, no matter what obstacles stand in the way. That's something worth celebrating and supporting. If you learned something new about these amazing sailors and their incredible capabilities, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about the brave men and women who defend our nation every single day.